The $1 billion secret. Why Michelin chefs are obsessed. You won't believe the reason. The dark $16 million ritual. What elite chefs do that you've never seen. Did you know that a Michelin-starred chef spends an average of 16 hours per day obsessing over a single dish? And that 94% of restaurants that earn this star fail within the first 3 years. What separates the 6% who survive isn't talent. It's something far more sinister. Close your eyes and picture Thomas Keller at the French Laundry, preparing his legendary oysters and pearls. Every single caviar pearl is individually inspected. Each oyster is opened at the precise moment. The tapioca temperature is monitored every 30 seconds. This isn't perfectionism, this is systematic obsession. What I've discovered as a performance archaeologist goes against everything you've learned about success. The difference between good and extraordinary isn't in the recipe, but in the killer mindset behind every single movement. Gordon Ramsay once revealed, perfection isn't accidental. It's the result of relentless obsession with details that others consider insignificant. Think about your work today. How many details did you let slide because they were good enough? Harvard Business Review published that professionals who apply the one rule, improving 1% in every detail, outperform their peers by 37x in career progression. This isn't coincidence. Joël Robuchon, the chef with the most Michelin stars in history, 32 stars, had an iron rule. If a dish wasn't 100% perfect, it got thrown away. Didn't matter if it cost $300 in ingredients. His obsession made him the most respected chef on the planet, but also the most feared by his team. Neuroscience proves it. Brains obsessed with details develop 23% more neural connections in the prefrontal cortex region. This means better decision-making, greater focus, and superior mental resilience. Your obsession literally rewires your brain. But here's the secret few understand. Obsession with detail isn't about the detail itself. It's about training your mind to see opportunities where others see routine. When you fold clothes with the precision of a chef preparing mise en place, you're programming your brain for excellence in everything. Marcus Waring, British chef, revealed he spent 6 months perfecting just the cut of an onion. 6 months, 1 onion. The result? Today, he generates £50 million annually with his restaurants. Coincidence? Never. Daniel Boulud, French-American chef with 4 Michelin stars, shared his process. Before creating any dish, he closes his eyes and imagines not just the flavor, but the texture, aroma, temperature, even the sound it makes in your mouth. He trains all 5 senses like an athlete trains muscles. The result? His restaurants generate $200 million annually. Here's what most people don't get about obsessive detail. It's not innate talent, it's deliberate practice. When you start treating mundane tasks as training grounds for excellence, you're not just improving those tasks, you're reprogramming your entire approach to life. Transformation challenge. Pick one task you do daily. Could be organizing emails, making coffee, or making your bed. For the next 7 days, spend 5 extra minutes doing this task with absolute obsession for details. Treat every movement like your life depends on it. Watch how your mind transforms. If you're ready to discover how detail obsession can transform your career, comment obsession below. And if you want to see the next secret that separated ordinary chefs from legends, hit that like button now, because in part 2 I'm revealing the mental code that only 3% of elite professionals master, the secret 2% test, why your brain is programmed for failure. There's a secret test every Michelin star chef candidate must pass. They need to identify 50 different flavors, blindfolded, in 10 minutes. The pass rate, 2%. Those who pass discover something that will change your perspective on performance forever. Heston Blumenthal, the culinary genius behind the Fat Duck, isn't just a chef, he's a psychologist of taste. His dishes don't just feed, they hack memories, trigger specific emotions, and create experiences his guests remember 20 years later. How? He discovered that high performance isn't about doing more, it's about affecting more deeply. The science behind this is brutal. Our brain processes sensory information 60,000 times faster than text. Elite professionals don't fight this reality, they exploit it. Farron Audrey from El Bulli, considered the world's best restaurant for 5 consecutive years, created dishes that fooled all senses simultaneously. Olives that looked and felt like olives but tasted like mojitos. What few know is that Audrey studied neuroscience for hours daily. He understood that real innovation isn't about inventing something new, it's about combining existing elements in ways the human brain has never experienced. This is the difference between amateur creativity and systematic genius. Grant Achatz from Alinea completely lost his sense of taste due to tongue cancer. Instead of quitting, he trained his team to be his external sensors. Result? He maintained his 3 Michelin stars and revolutionized molecular gastronomy. This proves sensory mastery isn't about natural gifts, it's about obsessive training. Harvard Medical School discovered that professionals who develop enhanced sensory awareness have 45% better performance in complex decision-making. Why? Because they process more environmental data, catch nuances others ignore, and anticipate problems before they become crises. Ren Redzepi from Noma, voted world's best restaurant for Times, had a daily ritual, spending 2 hours walking through nature, touching, smelling, and tasting wild ingredients, not to find recipes, but to calibrate his senses like a violinist tunes their instrument. Here's the game changer most people miss. Sensory mastery translates to every field. Steve Jobs was famous for spending hours feeling the texture of iPhone prototypes. Coco Chanel would test perfumes on her skin for weeks before approval. They understood that excellence isn't logical, it's sensory. Wolfgang Puck revolutionized American dining not through complex techniques, but by understanding that Americans eat with their eyes first. His colorful, Instagram-worthy presentations at Spago created the blueprint for modern restaurant marketing. Today, his empire is worth over $400 million. The MIT Sloan School found that executives with developed sensory intelligence make 34% faster decisions and have 28% higher customer satisfaction rates. They literally feel opportunities before others see them. Sensory transformation exercise. Take a current project that's frustrating you. Now apply the sensory matrix. Divide a sheet into 3 columns. Basic level, what's acceptable. Excellent level, what would impress. And impossible level, what would seem like magic. For each column, describe not just what you do, but how it would affect all 5 senses of whoever receives your work. This perspective shift will reveal opportunities your logical mind never saw. If the idea of developing sensory mastery to dominate your field resonates with you, comment senses below. And if you're starting to understand why some professionals seem to have supernatural powers, smash that like button, because in part 3 I'm exposing the most dangerous mental strategy that separated legendary chefs from the forgotten ones. The psychopath strategy. How 847 failures built a $1 million empire. In 1984, a Japanese chef named Nobu Matsuhisa lost his restaurant in a fire in Lima, Peru. He had no insurance, no money, no plans. 15 years later, he was Robert De Niro's business partner with a $1 billion empire. What happened between those 2 points wasn't luck. It was a mental discipline that 99% of people consider insanity. Nobu didn't rebuild the same restaurant. He used the disaster as a forced innovation laboratory. Without access to traditional Japanese ingredients, he was forced to combine Eastern techniques with South American ingredients. Thus, Nikkei cuisine was born, revolutionizing world gastronomy and making him a legend. This is the brutal reality of high-level innovation. It doesn't come from comfort, but from extreme pressure. MIT studies show that 73% of disruptive innovations come from creative constraints, limitations that force the brain to find impossible solutions. Marco Pierre White, the youngest chef to earn 3 Michelin stars at 33, had a killer philosophy: if you're not breaking rules, you're not innovating. If you're not innovating, you're slowly dying. He trained his team not just to execute recipes, but to question them, destroy them, and rebuild them daily. The difference between elite innovators and imitators lies in the discipline to fail systematically. Thomas Keller tested 847 different versions of his famous cappuccino of English pea soup, before reaching the final version. 847 documented failures. Most people quit at the third attempt. Here's the secret that changed my view on high performance. Real innovation isn't about wild creativity. It's about methodological discipline applied to chaos. Farhan Audrey created 8,000 new dishes per year at El Bulli, but only 30 made it to the menu. That means he accepted a 99.6% failure rate. But those 30 dishes changed world gastronomy. Neuroscience reveals why this works. Each controlled failure strengthens neural connections responsible for adaptive creativity. A serial innovator's brain develops 34% more neural plasticity than a traditional executor's. Literally, failing with discipline makes them smarter. Alice Waters, pioneer of farm-to-table cuisine, revolutionized not just a restaurant, but an entire food philosophy. How? She imposed one rule: only local ingredients, only seasonal recipes, only sustainable suppliers. These impossible limitations forced innovations that today define California cuisine. Massimo Bottura from Osteria Francescana turned mistakes into systematic opportunities. When an intern accidentally broke some lasagnas, instead of throwing them away, Bottura created tortellini walking in brodo di Parmigiano Reggiano, now one of the world's most copied dishes. David Chang from Momofuku built his empire on a similar principle: intentional rule-breaking. His Korean-Italian fusion was considered wrong by traditionalists. Today, Momofuku is worth over $200 million and Chang is a Netflix star. Innovation isn't about following trends, it's about creating them. Forced innovation protocol. Identify your biggest professional fear right now. Now imagine it happened yesterday. Write down 10 specific ways you could transform this disaster into opportunity. Not vague theories, concrete actions with deadlines. This exercise programs your brain to see crises as innovation fuel, not paralysis. If you're ready to discover how to transform your biggest fears into innovation fuel, comment innovation below. And if you want to see how the greatest chefs transform discipline into eternal legacy, hit that like button now. Because in the final part, I'm revealing the secret that separated temporary chefs from immortal legends, the immortal code. Why 10,000 people stopped everything for this man. When Auguste Escoffier died in 1935, over 10,000 chefs from 40 countries stopped their kitchens simultaneously for 1 minute of silence. No other professional in history received such tribute. Escoffier wasn't the richest or most famous. So what made him immortal while others were forgotten? The answer will shock you. Escoffier never saw himself as just a chef. He saw himself as a systems architect. Every recipe he created, every technique he developed, every person he trained was designed to last centuries. Today, 88 years after his death, his recipes are still standard in 90% of culinary schools worldwide. This is the brutal difference between temporary high performance and eternal legacy. Temporary performers work for immediate results. Legacy builders work for systems that transcend them. Julia Child didn't become famous for cooking well. She became immortal by teaching an entire nation to cook through mastering the art of French cooking. Stanford Business School analyzed 500 elite professionals over 30 years. The discovery is devastating. 87% of high performers are forgotten within 10 years. But the 13% who create legacies have one common trait. They obsessively document their mental processes, not just their results. Paul Bocuse, nicknamed Papa of Nouvelle Cuisine, spent 40 years not just cooking, but creating a culinary school of thought. Today, 14 of the 30 chefs with 3 Michelin stars in France were directly or indirectly trained by him or his disciples. His legacy isn't in dishes, it's in the minds he shaped. Here's the secret few understand about true legacy. It's not about what you do, but what you teach others to do better than you. James Beard understood this. Instead of settling for successful restaurants, he dedicated 30 years to writing, teaching, and creating the foundation that bears his name. Today, the greatest culinary authority in the U.S. Harvard Kennedy School research reveals, professionals who systematically build legacies are 67% more likely to maintain influence, even after retirement. Why? Because legacy isn't about you, it's about what you make possible for others. Anthony Bourdain turned this lesson into art. He wasn't the most technical chef, but became immortal by documenting not just recipes, but philosophies, cultures, and stories behind food. Kitchen Confidential still sells 50,000 copies yearly, 5 years after his death. Emeril Lagasse understood American appetite for personality-driven cuisine. His BAM catchphrase and theatrical cooking style created the template for celebrity chefs. Today, his brand generates over $150 million annually across restaurants, TV shows, and product lines. He didn't just cook, he built an entertainment empire. Before Joël Robuchon died, he created something revolutionary, a mentoring system where each chef he trained was required to train 3 others, who would train 3 more. Today, over 2,000 chefs worldwide apply his techniques. His legacy isn't in his 32 Michelin stars, it's in the infinite stars his disciples conquered. Legacy Construction Protocol. Open your notebook and answer this fundamental question. If I disappeared tomorrow, what knowledge, system, or philosophy would die with me? Now, choose one of these things and create a 90-day plan to document it so others can not only learn it, but teach it to others. This isn't about ego, it's about exponential multiplication of your impact. The journey of discovering masters' secrets never ends. Each legendary chef we study reveals new layers of discipline, innovation, and purpose. But what you do with this knowledge defines whether you'll be another temporary performer or a force that transforms your field forever. If you're ready to start your journey of building true legacy, comment "My Legacy" below. And if this video changed your perspective on what real high performance means, share it with someone who also needs to discover these secrets. The algorithm rewards those who share real value, and your generosity could be the catalyst that brings this knowledge to thousands of others who need it.